women who are working in the scientific fields. That's not all that common for Christian fiction books these days. So I'd like to kind of explore other areas, not just cancer research, but so I'm trying to work through other story ideas for down the road.
Yes. I want to tell you something, then I'd like to know what you think about this. When I was in school, graduated in 2020 anyway, I read peace studies and conflict resolution. Then I think that was when I was in my 300 level, I started writing. Prior to that time, I started writing, but it was when I started my industrial training that at the Ministry of Justice, that was when I started writing a book that I wanted to publish. I told myself that I was going to publish this book latest 2020. Now I started writing stories that were related to what I studied in school. I became so interested in politics, human rights, and several, so on and so forth, in everything related to peace studies and conflict resolution, because we studied all the stuff down from the individual stage down to the global stage. Now, I told myself one thing when I was writing. I thought, since that time, I've published 3 books and several short stories. I told myself something that, okay, I'm going to write this particular genre, but there are certain genres that I won't dare go into, like genres like science fiction, fantasy, because I have never been good with science when I was in school. That was why I just had to, respect myself and choose art, and I've been very good at it. Now I'd like to ask you, what gives you, or what brought out this love of writing a scientific book? Did you study any science related? Did you study any science related course when you were in school? Or I know you once said you're married to a scientist. So did he make you fall in love with science, or you fell in love with, you studied it, and is that what brought out the passion to write scientific fiction?
I think he would laugh if he heard that, asking if I had a passion for science, because I struggle through those parts. And thankfully he works from home, so I can go ask him, be like, what is it like in a science lab? Like, what do the women wear? And all those details that I have to include. But let's see. I think it's just, I'm including enough of the science that it's interesting, and it's things that affect our lives, right? So my main character, I have her mother dying of leukemia when she was 5 years old. And so that's how that affects her whole life, and her whole career path, and everything she's doing is based on this one very traumatic event that she had early in life. And so the research itself, it feels, it's like researching anything that I'd have to. There's so many things I don't know about that as a writer, I'm going to have to dive in deeper and become what's called an armchair expert. So know just enough that I can pass on the knowledge to my reader, and to make it realistic to anyone else who actually knows more about this topic, right? Mm-hmm. So I wouldn't say I jumped full into the science, but thankfully I have people around me who know how to correct it when I do a terrible job, right?
Oh, that's amazing. That's beautiful then. Okay. Down to another question. What, as a Christian author, what is that message that you're trying to pass through to your readers?
So for this book, it's definitely, the question is, what would happen if you let go of everything that you're holding on to so tightly and trusted God? So in particular, this character, she works all the time. She's very dedicated to what she does, but she wants to be in control so badly. And I think that Eve in the garden was very similar. She wanted to be in control. And so she took a bite of that fruit, which changed everything. And so in my own life, looking at what would happen if I went to God with open hands instead of holding on to my own plans, what would happen? I would allow him, I would give him room to prove himself to me, right? That I can trust him and he is faithful and reliable. So that's what I'm battling through with this book.
Oh, that's wonderful. That's amazing. And I really hope you publish this book very, 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 very soon. Oh, that's nice, Christine. Thank you so much. And let's say if someone wants to connect to you and maybe someone wants to get an update about your story, as because maybe we want to keep tab and, watch out for when your story will be published, how would they be able to do that?
So I have a website. It's christineboatwright.com. And you could sign up for my email newsletter. I send one once a month, so it's not too many. It doesn't clog up your email box or anything. And it's just a good way to keep in touch. I'm also on Instagram, Christine Boatwright, there as well. So I love connecting with readers and writers now because there's so much we can already talk about and enjoy together before I even have a book out. That's not the main part of what I'm doing. So yeah, I would love to connect.
And I have a little confession to make. Or maybe disclosure. I don't know how we're gonna put this, but I have always loved reading let's say fiction books written, especially. I love reading fiction books. I'm an avid reader of Christian fiction, but I always see something special. And I am not exaggerating or flattering you when I say this. I always see something special with journalists turned authors or English teachers that's suddenly started writing. I like their style of writing. And then, my sister and I, we share books a lot. Like, we like recommending books to each other. And sometimes when we read books written by journalists or English teachers, we'll be like, okay, I think the experience is obviously showing here because the writing used to be very, very spectacular. And like I told you earlier, I'll really, really, really be waiting for that one. You've got me curious to read your book once it is published. I'll definitely be following up to know when your book will be published. And I really, really wish you all the best. I hope you get to publish this book soon. I hope you get to land a publishing deal and land it very soon. I've heard it from Christine, and anyone who is interested to follow her up, to find out, to keep tab on her as she publishes this story, please go ahead, go to the description section of this podcast. You would see the link and you see her biography. Everything you need to know about her is attached to the description section of this podcast. And you see the links, click on it and visit her page. Like she said, it's not just about the writing. There's so much more she has to keep you engaged. So thank you once again, Christine Boatwright. And I do hope that when we invite you next time, you would be willing to return.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. This was wonderful to talk with you.
Same here. Yeah, so thank you everyone for listening to this episode, and I hope you continue listening. If you enjoyed this, I would like to ask you to please reach out to someone, tell them about it, share it, and even follow and rate us, especially if you're listening to us even from Spotify. You can rate us. I would really, really appreciate it, and feel free to reach out to us as well, telling us what you think about this episode or any other episode. We would be very, very grateful. On behalf of my team and I'd like to say thank you to everyone for listening, and until I come your way again, I'm saying stay safe, stay blessed, and bye bye.